What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Damien Reads Comics. Today, I know I said I was going to do Carmen, but for some reason, I ordered a graphic novel. It was kind of like a continuation to the one I'm going to do right now, and it just got here. And because it got here, I was like, I want to read this so I can kind of put it away. So I kind of came back to this one. I already read this one, but I'm doing a reread of it. And the more I'm doing the reread of it, the more I'm like, oh my god, I freaking love this book. It's so freaking amazing. So today we're doing a review on Postal. This is such an amazing book. Such an amazing book for a few reasons. But we'll get we'll get into that shortly. So first and foremost, like I said, Postal. I got it in the Compendium format, so it is softcover. It does come in hardcover edition as well, which I want to pick up, but it's kind of pricey for what it is. Like this one was only like $25 for the Compendium, and like the hardcover right now, because they're out of print a little bit, they're like 90 to 100 to 120 bucks. So I don't really want to spend that on it when I have it right here. So Postal, it does have glued binding, published by Image Comics, and this is a new one because I've never heard of this creator before, and this writer. There we go. So created by Matt Hawkins, the writer is Bryan Hill and Matt Hawkins, and what's interesting, I want to let you guys know something real quick. I never heard of Postal before. I've never heard of it. When I first started reading, the very first comics I read, the first one I read was Starman, Compendium 1 and 2. If you guys want me to do a review of that, I will. I'm going to do a reread of it later, maybe sometime in the future. But after that, I picked up a whole bunch of Linda and Stepan Sojek. I'm sorry I'm butchering that name. The last name, it's Sejik. Linda and her husband, Stepan Sejik. I picked up Sunstone, Sunstone Book 1, Book 2, Mercy Book 3, Swing, the complete collection. I read Fine Print and things like... No, I haven't read Fine Print, I got it. But I just love their storytelling and their art so much that I went to see what other things... Because I believe that like their comics was published by Top Cow. So I went on Top Cow and I started kind of going through their... their list of what they have. Now, I did say this was published by Image Comics, but it's published by Top Cow Production and Image Comics. And so when I went under, I saw this, and what I liked about it is this cover right here, this specific cover was drawn by Linda Sejik. And so the artist as well, let's see, the artists are Isaac Goodhart, Raffaele Ionco, I'm butchering that name, I apologize, Itilio Rojo, and the colorist is by K. Michael Russell, Betsy Golden, and the letterer is Troy Petery. You know what? I'm going to show you guys that because I know I butchered the heck out of that. There you go. And so, yeah, so what ended up happening is this has Postal 1 through 25, Postal Laura number 1, Postal Mark number 1, and Postal FBI Dossier number 1. After they made this, they came out with two other ones, they came out with a new story called Postal Deliverance. And I picked up the first 2 volumes of it. It's only 2 volumes. And one of them took the longest to get here. And once it finally got here, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a reread of this before I read that. So that's where that came into play. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and crack this open. And I'll do a little bit of the plot and see what you guys think. Alrighty, guys. So here it is. Postal Compendium softcover. What I liked about this is I've done a read of it before, and I'm doing a reread of it now. And the spine is still completely fine. Like, unlike Fatale, for some reason, I read it once, and the spine already started, like, showing the crease. I didn't like that. So, what is Postal about? Well... This book takes place in Eden, Wyoming. Eden, Wyoming actually doesn't exist. And why doesn't it exist? Because the people here kind of, how do I explain it? They made it to where the government the government knows about it and they're trying to come in and kind of destroy it. And because okay, it's kind of hard to explain. Eden is a place where a whole bunch of criminals kind of get their last chance, and so they go right here. But Eden has a whole bunch of rules, and you have to follow those rules. There's no there's no criminal activity, nothing like that. It's a place of peace, run by one person, and that's the mayor. The mayor is actually, I don't know if I want to say she's a bad person or not, but she's trying to protect this town. And so when something bad happens, they don't call anybody else. They call the mayor and they take care of it on their own, right? And so because of that, if the mayor's getting old, so what's going to happen to this town, right? So we get introduced to the main character of this book. I'm sorry, here's a quick dedication if you guys want to see that. So the main story takes place, like I said, in Eden, Wyoming. And we get introduced to this character right here. His name is Mark. He works at the post office. That's why the book's called, the graphic novel's called Postal. He works at the post office. Now, the funny thing is about, I don't even want to say funny about it. The thing is about Mark, he's a very, very smart person. But he has I guess you can call it he has a mental disorder, I guess you can say. He has Asperger's disease. And because of that, people find him weird. People, kind of make fun of him. But he's a very smart person. A very smart person. When you start reading through this, you start to understand, yes, he's a little bit weird. He doesn't show the love and affection like he should. But he's a very smart and intelligent person. And so what's going on with Mark is that he works at the post office. He gets letters, and he's the only mail carrier here. Whenever a letter comes and it's kind of messed up, damaged, he transcribes it. A few things happen in this where he doesn't just do it with one. He starts doing it with all the letters. What you guys got to understand is the mayor of this town, her name is Mayor Laura Schifrin. And what's interesting is that mayor is actually Mark's mother. She pretty much tells everybody everything, what to do, how to do it, and tells him what to do and how to do it. But it comes to a point where he meets Magdalene, her name is Magdalene, but she goes by Maggie. We meet Maggie. She works at the diner where he goes and eats lunch all the time, and she's a sweet girl. But then you start kind of finding out her backstory and why she is the way she is, and then she finally starts trusting Mark, and they build a relationship to where she kind of wants to not really overthrow the mayor, but kind of turn Mark against the mayor to be his own person. We find out a lot about this town, how it was made, how it came to be, the people around the town. We learn about that Mark has a father, he has a sister. We end up we don't know. Well, we eventually find out what happens to both of them, and a lot of twists and turns happen in this book. The reason I like it so much is because not only does it deal with the mental disorder that Mark has, it also deals with like a tyrant place a small city run by one person, a tyrant. But that tyrant is actually doing good for the city, so people just accept it. But it's not until Maggie kind of starts finding out that what she's doing is letting a lot of things slide, and she shouldn't be doing that. So, take for example, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it here. Take for example, this happened. A body was dumped in the front of the church while everybody was at church. When they went outside, they saw the body. And the mayor takes care of it and doesn't tell anybody about it. Why? Why did she do that? What is she hiding? Eventually you find out why she did it, but the way she goes around doing it is wrong, right? And so, because there's a lot of things happening in this town and she doesn't allow any type of crime to be committed, she always puts on this annual once-a-year bloodshed type of thing where, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, right here. Let's see. I'm kind of just flipping through the pages so you guys can see the beautiful art. It's just such amazing art. There is a little bit of nudity in here, and there's really a lot of graphic violence. So I appreciate, or I'm sorry, I not appreciate, but I don't know if you guys are cool with that or not, but there is a lot of violence in here. I appreciate it, but I don't appreciate it as much because it's not so gory. There's violence, but it's not gory. That's what I appreciate. Here we go. This is where I was trying to get at. So once a year, the mayor puts up this, there it is right here. The mayor puts up this fight, this boxing fight every year. And it's the fight's not really to death, but it's like a really violent fight because it's a boxing fight, but it's not with gloves, it's with fists, so it gets really graphic, really bloody. And I mean, as you can see here, you don't see it that much. So that's what I was saying. I appreciate they put the violence in here, but they didn't show it too graphically like some other ones do. And so that's how this town is run, you know, and eventually a lot of things happen. How did this town come up to be? Well, it was kind of built and made by her husband, by Mark's father. You eventually find out he comes back and wants to take over it. He gets like kind of like an army to try to overtake the town. And because Mark is so smart, even though he has, you know, that mental disorder, he kind of figures out a way to kind of overthrow his dad and not let him do it. Now, we find out a lot of other things. It's just not about Mark. I mean, the main character is Mark. We know about Maggie. We know about Mayor Schifron. We know about her husband, Magnus. They just call him Mag. He's the sheriff. We find out about, you know, his dad, or Mark's dad. His name is Isaac. But then we get introduced to some FBI characters. We get introduced to the FBI's daughters. There's a guy, you know, there's a reason why Eden is the way it is, and it has to do with an FBI agent. And he knows about this place, so he sends his daughter to live there. There's another story arc about that. There's a story arc with this guy right here. So I mean, we get introduced to a lot of characters, but they're just kind of like side characters. Do they play a big role in this? Some do, some don't. At the end of the day, all you got to really understand is that Mark, even though he has Asperger's, he is set up to be the next mayor of Eden and keep it running the way it is as he sees fit. Does he do it? Does he have a love interest in this book? You know, that's all for you guys to read if you guys want to pick this book up. But I highly recommend you do, because I love this book. I've read it once, and like I said, I enjoyed it. I'm reading it again, and I'm enjoying it that much more. I think they should have made it a little bit longer, though. That's my only downside with this. They could have put in a little bit more detail, like the backstory of Maggie. They kind of explain why she's at Eden, but they don't really go much more further into her backstory. You get more backstory of Isaac, the mother, Laura. You get backstory of Mark. I get this this book is about them, but if they're going to start showing people that are, going to be in the graphic novel, and they're going to be continuing on, they should, show more backstory to them. I think that was my biggest gripe, was it wasn't long enough, and then it needed more detail. But anyway, I'm just going to kind of flip through the pages a little bit. This is that girl I was telling you about, that the FBI has a daughter, and he pretty much sends her to live here. This is her name. Her name is Molly. I'm not going to say if she's a good person or bad person, but just know she is out there. She has other agendas on her mind. But yeah, this is a great freaking story. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Ed Brubaker's writing, honestly, and I think that's why I kind of enjoyed it. I'm not trying to fanboy out on Ed Brubaker. I love his work, but I'm not always going to be picking up stuff from Ed Brubaker. I know there's going to be a lot of stuff out there that I'm going to read that has nothing to do with any type of his writing or anything like that. So I just enjoyed it because it was so grounded, so ground to earth, except for the final part. The final part kind of got me almost like Fatale. Well, Fatale kind of had that thing going for a while, but in the sense that at the end with Fatale, it had this cosmic thing. This doesn't have a cosmic thing, but it was kind of like a what the heck, like a WTF. Same with The Killer Be Killed. It was such a grounded thing, but that whole demon shadow, what the heck was it? This kind of has that at the very end. Why they are the way they are has to do with a a ritual at the end. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So, yeah, it's such a great, like, here's the violence of it. See, you see them get shot, but there's no, like, gore and stuff like on some other ones. So, yeah, this is such an amazing story. I hope I didn't give too much away of it. I know I talked a little bit in depth of each character, which I want to start doing more. But I don't want to give away too much of what happens, you know, with the whole story in itself. Because there is a lot of twists and turns that happen into this. There's a lot of, you know, plots, stories, and it all comes, you know, it all kind of comes to an end very nicely, if I can say so myself. One thing at the very end, though, when I said, you know, when I said back here, there's Postal Laura, Postal Mark, you know, one-shot comics. There's a story in there that I really did not like. I'm not going to give it away, but it has to do with, it has to do with Mark and somebody else having a child and what happens to that child. I didn't like what they did with that. I really didn't, but, you know, I'm not the writer. It is what it is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to go to the back of it. So you guys can see the cover variants. I don't even think they're cover variants. Yeah, they are actually. Cover gallery. So here's a cover gallery of it. What I like from it is a lot of it is from Linda Sajek, one of my favorite, not writers. She's more of the, like, the colorist. She's more of the ones that does the drawing and stuff. So she's more of the art. And so I love her work. I love her husband's work. So you know, this one's from Linda. This one's from Linda as well. Give me a second. Let's see here. This one's from Linda. This one is. This one is. So I like that she, you know, that she does a lot of the cover art. But these are all the cover. Cover A. I think there's a cover B with it as well. For example, there's like Postal number 5, cover A by Linda, and then there's cover B by Isaac Goodhart and Betsy Golden. So there's actually always two different ones, which I appreciate, actually. I don't know why they do that, though. It makes no sense to me why they do that, but they do it. I'm pretty sure you guys out there know why they do it, but hey. Just very, very interesting cover arts. They kind of remind me of some, like, posters or different comics that you would read. Like a spoof, almost, if that makes sense. Like this one. And this one. And that's the end right there. Like I said, I did go to Top Cow, not the Essentials, but their kind of like website to see what other books they did. Because like I said, I read, let's see if it's here. I read Sugar Volume 1, Sunstone Volume 1, Swing Volume 1. And then I kind of started going through these and I was like, well, I don't know if I'm... The thing is, what I did is I went on there and when I started looking at something, I kind of looked at the cover art and I was like, nope, not for me. But this one kind of got me interested because it just showed this. And I was like, huh, what is this about? And so when I did a little bit of the review on it, not on it, but I read the review, this back here, it kind of got me interested. And so that's why I did it. But anyway, that's the review on this. Let's go ahead and do the quick rating for it and see what you guys think. All right, guys. So what's my review for this one? I'm going to give this a 9, for sure 9. And the reason I'm giving it a 9 and not a 10, if they went a little bit deeper, maybe like another 5 more, maybe 10 more comics in this, because they separated in chapters, but we know it's, you know, 1 through 25. That's the comics that they released, because they did release them in single issues. If they went a little bit deeper, you know, into in depth of like Maggie and maybe Isaac before Eden became Eden, and how he built it, it would have been an excellent book. Because of that, I'm not giving it a 10, but overall I'm giving it a 9. This book was so amazing to me. What's weird about this book is that it really didn't, like, I didn't relate to it, like, per se, because I don't work at the post office. I don't have Asperger's disease. I don't have any type of mental disease to the point where I can relate to Mark. You know, I couldn't relate to Maggie. I couldn't relate to the mayor. or I'm not a police officer. I couldn't relate to the sheriff. So I didn't relate to no characters, but it was so well written, and that's weird because most of the time when I do a review, and for me to give it like a top-notch rating, I have to like connect to the book in some way, shape, or form. And I didn't really connect to any of the characters. It was just a good read, and the art was so amazing to me. So that's why I'm giving it a 9. The story was great, the art was great. I didn't want to put it down. Like when I first read through it, I was going through it pretty quickly, and I needed to slow down because I did not want to stop reading it. So I'm giving this a 9 for sure. It was such a great book. I can't give it, can't give it more praise. I definitely recommend you guys read this, pick it up, however way you guys can read it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments if you guys read it already. But it was such an amazing book to me. So, like I said, if you guys read this already, let me know down in the comments down below. Give me recommendations on what you guys think I should read next. After this, I'm actually doing Postal Deliverance Volume 1 and Postal Deliverance Volume 2 after that, and then Carmen. If it changes, I will let you guys know in the beginning of the videos, but for now, that's how I'm going to be doing it. Other than that, hope you guys liked the review. Leave a like if you guys did. I really appreciate that. And if you guys haven't done so already, please subscribe. It helps get my videos out there to people so they can kind of make their decision on if they want to pick up this book or not. So that being said, we'll see you guys on the next one.